Alrighty, we're back now to finish up the last two problems of target 9B notes day 2. For number 12, write an exponential function that could model the data in the table below. So they're going to give you a table, and you're going to have to be able to figure out what's going on with this table, be able to figure out the equation for it. So first off, we're going to start off with a general formula of y equals a times b to the x power. We're going to start off with this general formula, and with it, we could figure out the equation of this table. So first off, we're going to start with identifying our x and our y values that we're going to be working with. So you could choose any point on this graph to be able to do so. So I'm going to choose the second one, which is 2, 3. So again, that's my x value, that's my y value. So I'm going to quickly jot everything down here. So x equals 2, y equals 3. Let me just clarify that B's value is going to represent the pattern here, what we're multiplying by. If I go back to the chart, I have to decide how did I go from 1 to 3, 3 to 9, 9 to 27, and then 27 to 81. Hopefully you were able to see and figure out that in this case here, we're multiplying by 3 each time. 1 times 3 is 3. 3 times 9 is 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. And 27 times 3 gives us 81. So in this case here, our B value is 3. So for the most part here, we're going to begin with solving for A. We don't know what AE is, so I'm going to leave it as a question mark for now. So I'm going to substitute in what I know into this general formula. So Y, I know what Y is. Y is 3 equals A. I don't know what A is. I'm going to leave it by itself. Parentheses B. Again, we established that that's the value of 3 to the x power. But again, I know what x is. X represents 2. So we're going to slowly solve this here. So 3 to the second power, in other words, 3 squared is 9. So it's going to be 3 equals 9a. So now we're back into solving an equation. We're used to solving it for x. In this case, we're solving for a. So in order to get a by itself, I'm going to divide both sides by 9. So I'll bring down my a because 9 divided by 9 is 1. So you're left with a. 3 divided by 9, if we check in the calculator, it does simplify. And just to double make sure, 3 divided by 9, it simplifies to 1/3. So this is what a is going to equal. So now that I've figured out all the components, now I could write the general formula with its corresponding a value and b value. So our final answer is going to be y equals 1/3 times 3 to the x power. So this is going to be our final answer. And again, we were able to use the information of the table in order for us to do this. So we're going to repeat the same process with problem number 13. Write an exponential function that could model the data in the table below. So again, general formula, y equals a times b to the x power. Again, you could choose any point on this table and you should still end up with the same answer. So in this case, I'm going to try it with the third one. So I have x equals 3, y equals 16, b equals our pattern. So it's going to be, how did I go from 1 to 4 to 16 to 64 and to 256? So again, we got to be able to figure this out. And hopefully you already got the answer, which is multiplying by 4 each time. 1 times 4 is 4. 4 times 4 is 16. 16 times 4 is 64. And finally, 64 times 4 is 256. So again, we're multiplying by 4 here. So our b value is 4. Again, I don't know what a is. For the most part, you're going to be solving for a. So we're going to substitute what we know into the general formula. Y equals a times b to the x power. So in this case, it's going to be 16 equals a times 4 to the third power. And if you're like me, I don't know right away. So it doesn't hurt to double check your answer. So we're going to go back to the Inspire. 4 arrow up 3 gives me 64. So it's going to be 16 equals 64 times a. And just like any other equation, we're trying to get a by itself. So we're going to divide by 64 to both sides. 64 divided by 64 simplifies to 1, leaving me with just 1a. 16 divided by 64, let's quickly check if you could simplify. And it simplifies to 1/4. So in this case, our a value is 1/4. So again, we're not done yet. Now we gotta go back to the general formula and only substitute the values of a and b. So it's going to be y equals 1/4 times 4 to the x power. And that's going to be our final answer. There are a couple components to these, and you have to be super careful with the table values as well. And I just want to clarify again, you could use any point on this table in order for you to get this equation. Just always make sure to go back and check, can this fraction be simplified?